All right, well, we'll get started with our meeting then. I don't want to take too much of your time, so I've got a few notes we'll go through just to give you kind of an overview of what to expect when you first get started and you get to the airport in Milan. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we'll just kind of go through that. If you have questions or there's anything you want us to clarify, this is the time to ask. I'm sure there's some stuff that we'll probably forget, so chime in. This is more of a discussion than anything else, so feel free to ask whatever you want. So I'll share my screen.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so I was just going to take you through kind of what the procedure will be at the airport, give you an idea of what you'll see when you get there, and who you're going to meet, that kind of stuff, because you haven't met Ron yet. So when you fly into Verbania, it's actually quite a small airport, so you won't be overwhelmed. It's not like the airport in Toronto or anything like that. It's kind of more like the London airport. It's pretty small. You're flying into Malpensa, as everybody knows, hopefully by now. You probably won't have to go through customs, so especially those of you who are already in Europe, you won't have to worry about that. It's a little bit weird not going through customs because you just walk into the airport and away you go with your luggage. Don't forget your luggage. It's actually really easy to do that at this airport. I did that the first time, so don't forget your bags. You're going to be looking for Ron Cowdice. So this is what Ron Cowdice looks like. Yeah. Picture of him there. His cell phone number is here as well. So if by some chance you need to get a hold of him, you can't find him or something happens, he'll always have his cell phone with him. And I've also provided mine in the slideshow as well. So if you need something before I get there or after, you can text me and I can probably help that way. Have you guys got rate plans on your phones? Is that how you're doing things?
Sam does.
I do.
We've just been winging it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, as long as somebody does, then that should be fine. We do have pay-as-you-go phones that we usually bring. We weren't certain whether to bring those. Maybe we will bring them. What do you think, Corey? If not everybody's got a rate plan, is it worth it?
Oh, I think so. I think I was just thinking about it would be easier for us to be able to call Italy, like travel agents or buses or the guides with the Italy phone.
Yeah, you're probably right.
So
Okay.
so Adriana picked them up from my desk today, dropped them off at RKLA. So I'll send Ron a message. Hopefully he can pick them up from there.
Okay, perfect.
So even just
All right, so yeah, we'll have,
yeah.
yeah. So we'll have a few pay-as-you-go phones you guys can use to communicate with each other, and we'll give one to Ron. So you're not using your own airtime for that, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, and I sent the extension cord. I think there's 2 extension cords in there, especially
Okay.
for Verbania. They're going to need it.
Yeah, right. You're going to meet at Terminal 1. This is actually Terminal 2, but this kind of gives you an idea of what the airport looks like, so it's not a big, scary airport. Terminal 1, Corey, you said is like all marble and stuff, is that right?
It looks a lot nicer than this. It was under renovations when I was there 5 years ago, but it's got beige marble everywhere, and there really is one main hall, and that's where he'll be, kind of at the north end of the hall.
Yeah, so Ron's kind of hard to miss there because he's pretty tall and most people aren't there, so right, you'll feel like a giant.
Laura's going to be on the flight. A couple of the other international students are on the flight. So there'll be a little group of them.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll just have to wait around until everybody gets there. What's the latest arrival that we have, Corey?
The latest by plane is, I think, the 11 o'clock, but I haven't heard from everybody yet. So the bus is going to be there at 2.
Yeah, just to be safe with customs and baggage and stuff.
Well, and if that flight's late and delayed, you just never know.
Yeah.
So I try to be there around noon, maybe.
Right. when you're there, downstairs, there's an espresso bar, there's a sandwich shop. So if you haven't already had the pleasure of doing that, you can go and get your first coffee in Italy and your first panini. Ron always tells you to go downstairs. There's a market style place there. It's kind of fun to order your first thing in Italian if you haven't had that experience yet. I was scared to do it. The one thing we don't want you to do is don't leave the airport. Even if you think you have, I've got a couple hours, you'll end up getting left behind. So stay in the airport. Not a good idea to leave.
We have had to leave people behind before. So
Yes.
yeah.
The bus that you're going on, do you know if he's using Castano, Corey, or is he using
Actually, I don't
somebody
know.
else?
I'm getting the vouchers on Monday. So there's going to be all the vouchers for Ron's piece I'm getting on Monday, and then he's going to get your piece at the end of the week.
Okay. The bus is going to leave at 2 p.m., not 4 p.m. So we should change that in the notes, I guess. I didn't do that.
Luxury coach.
Yes, a luxury
Everything's
coach.
coach. Yeah.
Yeah. So no school buses. The last time we took this, the seats were velvet and there was an espresso machine. I'm not joking.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's usually pretty nice. Bus drivers always make us feel horribly underdressed because they usually have a suit jacket on. The bus ride is worth staying awake for just because you're driving up through the mountains. It was pretty exciting when we did it, and you'll see some pretty good bus driving technique because the roads don't look like they could fit a car, let alone a bus. It's pretty cool. So it's beautiful. When you get into Verbania, this is what it looks like. So this is, I think this is actually Ron's hotel on the left. So Ron's going to be at Hotel Belvedere. Your hostel will kind of be just up the hill. So the lake is kind of down along the right-hand side here. And this is kind of the main street that you'll walk up and down throughout there. You'll catch the boats in this area, that kind of stuff. Most of your transportation is going to be by boat while you're there, or by foot.
Beautiful.
You're going to get dropped off as close as we can get you to the hostel, which is relatively close, but this is what you're going to have to hike up with your suitcase. So if you make the mistake of bringing a great big heavy rolling suitcase, you're going to have fun hauling it up this little alley because that's where we usually go up. So it's stones and it's very steep. So if you haven't packed yet, travel light. What else? This is the hostel you're staying at. It's Ostello di Verbania. The address is here, so in case your parents want the address for where you're staying, I've given you the address and the phone number. Things to remember, this is a great hostel. We've stayed with these people for a long time, but remember that you're kind of a big group in a small town. There's not a lot else going on, so you're kind of the attraction. So you really do stand out, and sound also carries pretty well there. So try not to be noisy around the hostel because the owner/manager can be cranky, and she probably would throw you out. There have been threats in the past, so just be respectful of that place. If you want to have fun, my suggestion is to go to Intra, which is a little bit of a walk, but it's the neighboring town. It's more of a normal working class type town. There's Irish pubs and more normal bars. It's not as much of a vacation place as Verbania is. Usually students end up going there towards the end of their stay, but I'd say go earlier just so you kind of know what's there. So that's the best place to go to bars and stuff. There's really not too much going on in Verbania itself. Would you agree with that, Corey?
Yeah. I was pregnant when I was there last time, but Sarah commented the last year that anywhere they went, if they heard noise, it was usually the students. It does carry. There's only one main drag. It's kind of like Grand Bend,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I could always find where the students were just by listening out my window. That's not really a good thing. So.
No.
So yeah, try and be respectful of the culture. You won't stand out very much in Intra, so Intra is probably the better place to go at night.
I would say too that typically some years it's been cooler up there because you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
So you guys are traveling right now. I'm hoping you have warm socks, warm jackets.
Oh, it's so
right?
cold. It's freezing.
Is it cold right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So
Cold,
we
yeah.
go to gardens, rain or shine, right?
Beautiful.
So you need to have some rain gear and some dry gear for when you get back.
Yeah, I was looking at the forecast. It is unseasonably cold right now. It's almost 10 degrees cooler than it usually is. So that's not great. Hopefully it warms up.
Mhm.
On day 2, you'll probably have a dinner the first night with Ron. On the second day, Ron usually shows you around. So he'll show you places to eat. He's been there and done this part many, many times. You'll see where he's staying. He'll probably ask you to meet him at his hotel, but that will be up to him. He'll show you gelato shops, where you do your laundry. There's a grocery store that's kind of up the hill that's got everything you'd have at a typical Loblaws or store that way.
Not so typical. They have a whole aisle dedicated to pasta.
Yes, yes. And the wine you get in the grocery store there would cost, $150 here a lot of the time. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty good. Yeah, so Ron will give you an orientation of where everything is, and that will get you comfortable quickly, so you'll enjoy that. The itinerary, not 2013, that's not kind of an obvious spelling error. There we go. Corey just updated that. Do you want to talk about the itinerary a little bit, Corey? Or
Oh, dang. I left it upstairs. Sorry. Everyone just got home, so I was trying to escape. Can't make it any bigger, can you? I guess we're going to start. What we've done on the itinerary is we put the main feature of that day there. There might be a couple little extra outings that we're doing that maybe we will add on to these. I guess it depends on student participation and interest. I think almost all of your deliverables, your assignments, we've gotten on there, except for Sylvia and Will's course. They're teaching like an urban theory, urban design course, and they just weren't able to get their deliverables on there. So it's not set in stone, certainly the deliverables, but Eli and I went to great lengths to kind of spread out a lot of them, so you're not slammed at the very end. I mean, there's nothing worse than finishing off your grand tour with a whole week of homework, right? And you won't be able to enjoy Barcelona. So we're going to try to stick with the dates as much as possible.
Yeah, make sure that you are keeping up with the stuff you're supposed to do, because unfortunately that is what happens. And then we get feedback after with students saying they wish they saw more of Barcelona. It's because you saw a lot more of the other stuff and didn't do the work in the front end. So if you do things kind of as they're scheduled, you'll have lots of time at the end as well.
Yeah, we try to allot at least 2 days, 1.5 days that are free days per week. I know it seems, you're kind of missing your weekend, but if you were traveling, you'd be doing a lot of these things anyway. The unfortunate thing is when we get to Seville in Spain, just how it worked out with the professors, we're a little crunched for time. So it's going to be go time those 2 weeks. I don't even know if we have 1 day off and we're traveling. So that's why I think if we kind of abide by the first 6 weeks in their deliverables, you'll do much better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I would say about the schedule, just be flexible and open-minded. Things in Italy are always kind of in flux. They decide to go on strike or the weather's bad. So we kind of have to adopt on the fly sometimes. So don't get too set on things, although a lot of the stuff is already booked. But sometimes things do change a little bit.
Yeah, last year we were supposed to go do the Duomo and the Museo, the new one. It just opened after 2 years renovation, and the Pope was coming the day we were there. So we had to change that, right? So it's Eli, weren't you there in Italy and there was riots in Rome one year?
Yeah, there was riots the one year. The other year there was a great big flood in the Cinque Terre, and we had to reroute the night before, and these things happen.
Yeah, they're very relaxed there as well. I feel like you'll even find your professors relax a little bit as well.
Yeah. You can only control things so much, so you kind of got to go with
the
it.
wine helps.
It does, yes. Not that we'll be drinking any of that. We won't do that.
No, none of that. No
None
fun.
of that. No. Um, so you'll be with Ron until the 24th, and then I'll show up and meet you in Bologna. So you'll have a bus transfer, so you'll have to pack your stuff and be ready to go, and everything will go on the bus on the 24th. I'll show up on the 25th, and then I will be there with you to transfer you over to Florence, and we'll do a week in Florence together. There's a few things on here that are kind of listed as optional. There are things I would love to put in the itinerary, but budget won't necessarily allow that. However, I'm going to go, so if you want to go, you're welcome to come with me. That's kind of my approach to that. So I'm happy to teach or discuss or learn together or travel together if I'm going. So those will be things that you're welcome to do with me if you want, or on your own.
Automatic. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Where else? So we get to Florence. We've got, a few free days. The big activity here that would be optional is the Cinque Terre, which I've booked. So I'm going to go first thing in the morning on the 5th and come back late in the evening on the 6th. So if people want to book a train ticket, stay at the hostel or wherever, you're welcome to do that as well. When does Will arrive?
Geez, you could
Will
almost,
arrive.
if they wanted to, they could almost meet you in Lucca on the 7th.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah.
Because
Anyway.
it's kind of on the way.
Hmm.
So you'll see there's some deliverables work in there. You'll also notice that there are sketching days. So when we talk about the assignments, you'll see that the sketchbook is actually a big part of 2 courses. So the sketches are going to be something that is important to do together. So Ron and I talked about that today. So he's going to try and allow lots of time for sketching, and he understands the importance of that. So that'll be something that he starts you on and will continue on with as well. We've got some designated work days because you will have projects due shortly thereafter. Other highlights, you've got a bicycle tour of Tuscany and a wine tasting that I've booked for you. That's not something I think we talked about before, but I thought Will would enjoy this, so we've worked that in, so that should be fun. Hopefully you've ridden a bike in the last few years. We'll be able to keep up with Will if you haven't.
Hmm. Have you guys met Will?
Sure.
No, I don't think we have.
No? Not even in Charette?
William? Will Paul?
Yeah,
We know who he
Dr.
is.
Bull. We know him.
Okay,
we?
good.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, we're counting on you 4 to kind of keep all the professors company. I think he might be there with his wife for a little bit, Eli. Is that right?
Yeah, he's going to bring his wife to Florence, I believe.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, and she's nice.
She's lovely.
Sylvia arrives on the 24th, so you're going to transfer to Rome on the 20th, and then Sylvia will arrive. You haven't met Sylvia yet either, but she's one of the people who started this whole semester abroad process, and she's great, and she'll help guide you through Villa d'Este and Villa Lante and all of that. And she's also quite good at navigating airports, so she'll help get you guys to Spain, which will be happening on the 29th. And Corinne's going to arrive on the 28th, so you'll be meeting them there. Correct, Corey?
Yeah, so we all show up on the 28th.
Okay.
Yeah. That's our free day. We get to travel.
The one free day in Seville?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what time you guys get into Seville?
No, I don't. I get in, I fly into Madrid and then I take the train. So
Right.
I'm not going to be there until maybe 4. And I don't know if they're early or late. Yeah, I can't remember. I think we changed it. Maybe late, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, Seville, unfortunately, is a bit of a pain to get to, but it's worth it.
Mhm. I think, but they go Rome, Seville. It's easy.
Oh, yeah, it is
Their
direct,
flight.
isn't it? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, their flight is direct. So we used a travel agent for all of the busing, some of the trains, especially the fast trains, and the flights. We should almost give that information to them. I think that would be good, just in the event maybe Sylvia doesn't show up or something. You never know, right?
Okay.
It would be nice to have that contact for them as an emergency.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll post all that
But
then.
that's been paid for already.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's no purchasing of tickets or anything like that. So that's actually quite
Mhm.
nice.
That's awesome.
I think the only problem with the flight to Spain is it's a low budget airline.
Sorry.
And
We got it.
We've been doing it
Good.
already.
okay. So for those that are watching this on YouTube and it's a little later, the low budget airline only allows you to have so many bags and with a pretty strict weight limit on it. So you may have to pay upwards of $50 to $100 for your extra luggage. Okay.
If your luggage is really crazy heavy and you've got it full of, Italian leather jackets and boots and that kind of stuff, which happens.
But you should leave some room for Spain. Oh, there he is.
What else? Right. So you'll finish in Seville on the 4th, and then the rest of the time will be in Barcelona, which you'll enjoy. So you've got a pretty packed schedule, as I can see here, but there's lots of great stuff to see in both Seville and Barcelona, so you'll enjoy that. And then you leave on the 10th.
Yeah.
Decent.
I think my opinion would be, and Will, this would be up to you, I guess, you and Eli, is to push them to get as much studio done as soon as possible. There's quite a few working days that they
Yes.
have in Florence.
Yeah.
And if they can get their stuff done, it would just be in everyone's favor.
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. Yeah. Ron has worked and is working on the studio site that you are actually going to do, so he knows a ton about it. So I would take advantage of having Ron there. He's also going to talk to you about design contests because he knows about design contests a little bit. We just finished judging the Landscape Ontario Design Awards today, so we can talk to you a bit about what gets noticed and what doesn't when you're in a room full of 25 other submissions or that sort of thing. So take advantage of each resource when you have them, because everybody's got something else to contribute. Which
Ron went over to England to study, I think maybe to do his master's over there, and Jeffrey Jellicoe was actually one of his professors. So if the name doesn't ring a bell, he's an English landscape designer from, I don't know, 100 years ago, right? So he was born 100 years ago. Anyway, so, and Ron's
Sylvia
biggest
Crowe.
regret, his biggest regret is that he didn't talk to him more, right? So I would say Ron would be an invaluable resource to have over there on the ground, make an amazing contact, and he will be a great resource for you here back in Canada.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, Ron's other guide on the trip was Sylvia Crowe, who wrote one of the books that I've given you the reading for on landscape design. So he had some pretty good instructors while he was there. Any questions about the itinerary?
I just have a question for like assignments and everything. So on the 10th, is anything due after that? Like, are we expect to be back at school on the 12th?
Yeah, so we have a reflection essay piece, and I believe we said that was due on the 14th, Corey? Is that
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the following week. You can obviously do it before that, but
Okay.
Oh, certainly.
Thank
Like you could even do that. The thing is you see some of the best gardens in Italy at the very end. In fact, your last 2 days there, right? Villa d'Este, Villa Lante. And those are great ones to compare and contrast to your anchor garden.
Okay.
I'm sure Eli's going to talk about the critical readings in a moment. And then Sylvia will mark that last project on the 14th. Now, if studio doesn't get done, what we've done in the past is we've had to kind of huddle in a hotel room. We book a room in one of the hostels and we stay there for a couple days until it gets done. With the schedule this year, I'm hoping that you get it either done before or at the very least, I guess you hand it in on the 14th, right? We have to mark everything in order to get our grades in for the final grades.
Right.
But you definitely don't have to go back to school. You're free to go wherever you want to go.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were just thinking because we're in Spain, maybe going over to Portugal for a couple days.
Yes.
go to
Yeah.
Lisbon. Go to Lisbon.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, do it. So get your work done. Just do it. It'd be great.
Okay,
Got it.
beautiful.
All right, so we got a little bit more here. I'm just gonna share where'd my screen go. There we go.
That is the document.
All right, so this is your hostel in Bologna. So it's called We Hostel, and I've given you the address here as well. This is quite a modern one, and our Ron and I's hotel is actually quite nearby. So this is right near the train station, so that'll make things pretty easy, and it's a relatively straightforward walk right to the downtown of Bologna. So other years we've stayed outside of town, which was kind of frustrating because you couldn't easily get in and out. So this will be hopefully a good hostel, but we've never stayed here before, so this is going to be a first. But it looks really nice and it's rated really highly. So there's that address if your parents want it or you want it. You can look it up and see what it's about if you want. Final paperwork. If you happen to know that you haven't given me something, please give that to me. It is important, medical insurance, that kind of stuff. We hope that you don't need it, but we needed it a bunch last year. So just make sure that we have any paperwork that you haven't given in. Coursework. So I'm just going to take you through this. I've already posted all of this, but this is just kind of a chance for you to ask any questions you might have. So the critical readings course is being taught by myself and Sylvia now. Is that right, Corey?
Yeah, and I'll do the Moorish piece at the end.
Okay. So you've already done a quiz because I've assigned some things to it. So this is Sylvia Crow's book. This was who Ron studied with. So she's done all right for herself. I haven't posted the marks yet, but I will post those soon. So you've already taken care of a good chunk of your grade, which is good. You can refer back to these things, of course, for the assignments. These are kind of the core materials that you're drawing upon. One of the big components is the sketchbook. And I've talked about the importance of sketching. You guys were introduced to this last year, so sketching isn't new to you. So you already kind of have the skill. It's not supposed to be an art piece. It's supposed to be a place for you to think, take notes, synthesize, and kind of digest what you're seeing, which I've talked about last year. I've given you some readings, not some readings, but some questions based on the readings to consider in your sketchbooks. The way you're supposed to use these is try and draw and observe the things that would answer these questions. So if you're thinking about, the relationship of the landscape, the garden to the surrounding landscape, answer that with a sketch or an annotated sketch, that sort of stuff. We're going to have some progress checks just to kind of see that everybody's doing this. The one thing that we really don't want is drawing from photographs, unless it's that there's absolutely no other choice, because it just ruins the experience. It's not the same thing. So you want to go and do it on site. You'll remember every moment of it. Photographs, it's not the same. And then you'll submit your final sketchbook at the end, and we will give those back to you. But I think we were talking about doing scans for that, Corey.
Yeah, I think I could have the iPad. I'll have a scanning app on it. Most people have a phone with their scanning app. Hopefully
Yeah,
at the hostel there'll be something that they can do. Or, at the end, I just mark them right there. But I know you want to see them, so yeah, we'll scan them in somehow.
We'll figure it out somehow, yeah. So the important thing is be sketching all along. We've given you some opportunities to sketch in the schedule, but do more if you want. The example I gave you online is somebody who was sent over there on a scholarship to sketch in the 18th century. And the part I kind of enjoyed about it is he didn't do any of the stuff he was assigned to sketch. He went and drew the stuff that he was interested in. And that was kind of revolutionary. So I thought that was kind of a fun reference. The introductory seminars, you're each going to be or have been assigned a garden to introduce. And basically your introduction is done before you enter into the garden space. Can you kind of talk about how these went last year, Corinne? Because I didn't get to see any.
Right. So all it is, we're hoping that you'll use more than just Wikipedia to put some background information on these gardens. it's just no fun going into these gardens not having any idea of what you're going to see. So it's good to get a little bit of history. And we thought that then it would be a good jumping off piece for each of the students to really understand one garden well. And then when they look at other gardens, they'll be able to tie in pieces that are similar or be able to contrast and analyze the differences. So it's probably like a 10-minute presentation, very informal. Sometimes they're at the gates of a palace. Sometimes they're in the bus with a microphone, right? So
Right.
it's just whatever opportunity presents itself for that, okay?
Okay.
And I think, Eli, I will also post, I've made photocopies of every single garden that you're
Okay.
going to see from a book that I own, and I'll put that in the course. I don't have access to
Great.
critical readings. I need to talk to Michelle.
Oh, you're supposed to be added to all of them. Okay, we'll talk.
I
to her.
know. Yeah.
Okay, so those are plan view drawings of each of them? Is that right?
There's plans of each of them, and as well a reading. So
Okay.
an excerpt from this book on Tuscan gardens.
There's a website called gardenvisit.com. It will talk about every garden that we go to as well, so that's a good resource. And it's usually the content is written by the same guy who did the 24 historic styles of gardens, so he knows his stuff. We're going to have a little post analysis that you have to do, and we'll post examples of what those look like. We've got some good ones from last year. So you're basically just going to digest what you saw when you toured the site, the discussion that you have. You can also talk to faculty about it, and all the information you need to write up your post analysis will probably come from that experience. Some of the gardens we also have a guide, so you'll have information from guides depending on whether or not we have one. Then the final piece is a critical reflection essay. So this is a comparison between a couple gardens. We've suggested some comparisons that we think might work, but this is where we really want to see what you think. So one of the big skills you should come away from this with is the ability to talk about and discuss a landscape architecture or design project. So this is your chance to kind of tell us what you think in the context of everything you've seen. So the deliverables and specifics about that are there.
Yeah, and Sylvia will be leading that essay. And it's more of an illustrated essay. I mean, some people last year did it on PowerPoint. Some people did it in Word. Is it up to them, Eli? Is that okay? How they do the deliverable?
I think as long as the content is there, I just don't want point form. It should be written.
I agree.
Yeah.
And we did that, remember, in our second year studio last year, we did a critical essay. It was just based on one garden, but now you're going to be doing, and you guys all did a great job. You'll get that same idea, but we'll be comparing the two different gardens with maybe kind of an overarching theme and picking 3 subcategories of that theme.
Okay.
That's typically how Sylvia's really liked it in the past, but she might have a different way this year. Who knows?
Okay. The patterns and influences course. So this one, Corey and I are teaching. You've already had your quiz, so you're kind of on your way with that. Hopefully the quiz gave you a lens to look at the landscape through. That's kind of the intent. The one other big assignment is the sketchbook. It's the same sketchbook as you're doing in the other course. So you're just answering some different questions through your sketches here. So if you were drawing and thinking about and analyzing what you saw, you'd probably be answering these questions anyway. So your sketchbook is a component for 2 courses, so it's something you really have to do and keep up on. The other point of the sketchbook is this is something that you're going to remember forever. So you'll be able to open this up 10 years from now, and you'll probably be able to remember what it felt like, smelled like, looked like, all that kind of stuff. You really will remember the experience. So one of my main goals is that you come away with something that you've got as a memory of this experience. To that end, I'm also asking you to do a bit of a photo journal. And I'm going to do a little lecture on photography, so what types of things to take pictures of and how to compose them, basic stuff like that. And I'm going to ask you to make a photo booklet, which my wife always does these every time we go away. I think I brought one into one of our meetings. These are a great way to remember your experience. So you'll have to submit a PDF to me, but I would encourage you to have the hard copy printed, because we're going to be using Blurb's little application for putting it together, which is really easy. And I'll post a demo for that as well. But this is a way of documenting all of your memories. Unfortunately, with digital photographs, you end up with a lot of files that there's no physical record of. So this is a way of creating that kind of physical record and telling the story of your journey, which is going to be pretty special. So that's the other component there. We've had one quiz. We will have 2 more quizzes. These are usually image-based and with some true or false questions. They're typically done either on a bus ride or something of that sort. So they're not like a big deal, study your brains out type quiz. It's just kind of more of a way of, collecting your knowledge as we move through things. So we'll do one before we leave Italy, and then one in Spain. So there'll be some small readings assigned, but mostly it's going to be based on the stuff that you see or that we talk about. So when you go to the Uffizi Gallery, you're going to see, Italian Renaissance art history, the best examples of that. In Spain, go to the Picasso Museum, you'll get to see Picasso's work from when he was a kid to his mature work. So you'll get to see some of the giants of art history. So we'll look at those things through short quizzes. Other things that are coming up, I'm going to be posting a short mini video lecture on iconography, because that's one of the things I've asked you to look at, and then we'll explain what that is and kind of get you thinking. And as I mentioned, I'm going to do a little photo video talking about photography and how to put together your photo book. Not a phone book demo, that would be really painful, but it'll be a photo book. That's a bad typo.
Nice phone book.
Yeah, put together a phone book, all Italian names, would be great.
I don't know if this generation knows what a phone book is.
No, what is that?
Google.
Google.
Do you have any questions about assignments or anything that way?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
No?
Ron and I are doing the construction course together. He loves to lecture on the spot, verbatim, just from his memory. It's almost the exact same lecture that he gave last year and the year before and the year before. So he'll have one of the quizzes. I'll do another quiz at the end of the semester. And then what we do is we're actually partnering the construction deliverables assignments with your studio. And we'll ask you to do 3 different construction details, and then that you will CAD up and use for your studio project and for the CAD course as well. So you get to multitask for that course.
Yeah, so it'll be, did we talk about the CAD course? We didn't yet, did we?
No.
The CAD course is going to be just supporting what you're doing in your studio work. So we're going to look at the CAD drawings that you produce and the SketchUp work that you do. So we're not asking you for separate assignments. There's some specific deliverables built into the studio project. That's going to fulfill the CAD course. So there's not going to be anything really new introduced unless it's something that you need to acquire to finish the project or task that you're working on. So that course is just built right in. Will, do you want to talk about the Piazza comparison that you normally do?
Yep. Hi, my name is William Pohl. I apologize for missing part of the meeting. So the Piazzas, we're going to do a walking tour of the Piazzas, first of all. And what I'd like you to do is break up into teams and actually do a little bit of an observational survey of the Piazzas and be able to evaluate them based on a reading that I'll be giving you by Michael von Hassen. So that will be site visits, evaluation on why Italian piazzas are successful urban spaces and why they're not successful urban spaces. And I'll give you a criteria and a bit of theory around that. And I'm expecting that you'll be able to do a short presentation at the end of our 2 weeks and our site analysis, and also suggest improvements from a landscape design, from a built form perspective on how these Italian piazzas function. I've also picked up some really good walking tours of Italy or of Florence specifically. And hopefully I'll be able to assign pairs or groups of people, and you'll be able to take the rest of the group on the walking tour of the architecture. That's going to be my primary focus, and I'll check back with Eli and Karine on some of the details.
Yeah, and I'll get you started. We'll go once we get to Florence. We'll go to the piazza outside San Spirito and have pizza, just a pizza, and maybe a drink on the steps, will give you an idea of what piazza life is like in Florence. It's quite nice.
Yep. That'd be great. Not a problem. I'm also taking the students taking the tour on a bike tour into the sort of countryside of Florence. I'm an avid cyclist, so I'm really looking forward to that portion of the tour. And in Rome, we're going to one of the large gardens that I forget what it is, but we're taking bikes through there too. Again, Kareem?
I think it's Borghese.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
So you'll do 3 bike tours while we're there.
are they all with me?
No, they'll do the Luca one with me.
That's right. The Luca one is fantastic. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that last year.
And maybe we'll do a flamenco one at the end.
Excellent.
Flamenco, I wasn't into flamenco. Go. It's pretty cool.
Will do.
Eli, do you have a lunetta behind you?
Yes.
Yeah. Is that Bobley Gardens?
Which one is it? Yes, it is.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
There. Yeah, yeah. So that's one of the original paintings of one of the gardens you and I are going to see together in Florence before the addition was added to it.
Wow.
So, yes, I'm a huge Italy nerd. This whole office is decorated with Italy stuff. Not surprisingly. Do you have any other questions? The only other thing left in the slideshow is I put my cell phone number up there if you need it. Are there any questions about arrivals or anything in general? This is really your last chance to ask.
No, we'll be there by 8, so.
On Tuesday, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
we leave here early and we'll get there. I think we get there at 8:40, so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and you might have to change terminals.
Yeah, I think we come in the turn too.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
No
Yeah.
problem.
So Ron comes in at 11:10.
Okay. We know what we know what it looks like. Met him last year.
Oh, right.
Well,
Good.
Okay. So I didn't need the picture then.
Nah, it helps.
Any other questions?
No, we're good.
Did you
Good.
look at the critical readings assignment to see who is doing what? I was really hoping that Kat would chime in. Who was the other person that was, maybe Sammy? Did I put you in as one of the first?
Or maybe Laura? I don't remember.
I'm not too sure. I haven't looked yet.
Yeah, I don't have access to it. So I don't know what you posted, Eli, but maybe an extra email for those people. Although I think it's an evening's worth of research.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
They're
Yeah.
pretty informal, right? They're informal.
All right.
Yeah, we'll look at it when we get off here.
Okay.
I apologize for being late, but it's very nice to meet you all.
Yeah, nice to
You
meet
too.
you.
Take care. We'll see you soon.
Great.
All right.
See ya.
All right, Olafin. If
Bye now.
that's it, we can wrap it up. See you, Will.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Any questions, Mia?
No?
No? All right. Well, if you don't have anything else, Corey, then I'll stop the broadcast and all
No, I'm good. Okay, great. See you in 6 weeks, guys.
Take
right,
care.
enjoy. I'll see you in Bologna.
You bet. Safe travel.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.